Coming up in the show, we're with Telenet giants Antwerp as they find out who they'll lock horns with in the playoffs. We highlight all 8 ties taking place in the round of 16. And we look through the vault at some classic BCL encounters. After an intense regular season, the Basketball Champions League is down to 16 teams. Here's everything you need to know about the first round BCL playoffs.
Their ticket to the playoffs finally.
We start in Belgium with one of the BCL's most exciting young teams, Telenet giants Antwerp.
You cannot help, I want the help coming from you.
Who gave us exclusive access on the day of the playoff draw.
We had a really tough group. Nobody expected us to qualify.
It's going to be Bako for the jam!
After 4 or 5 games, I think everybody started to believe that we could advance top 4, and all the credit goes to my players.
That group of players make up the youngest squad in the competition.
Because we're so young, sometimes we lose control.
Also very positive, a lot of energy, very aggressive, so we try to play very quick.
Victor Sanders for 3! Listen to this crowd go nuts!
We can just keep going all season long. Being young is in our advantage.
After progressing in 4th place, they know the magnitude of the task ahead.
We know it's going to be a #1 seed. We're looking forward to whoever it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just come down to us as a team.
You know, it's 3 good teams that we could go against. They all got strengths and weaknesses, and when the time comes, we'll scout for that, prepare for that.
The work we've done so far shows that, you know, we're capable of playing against anybody in this playoff.
Firstly, congratulations to the 16 clubs that have qualified to this year's BCL playoffs. After 224 games have been played, we are ready to find out the next crucial fixtures. Telenet giants Antwerp, they are the first ever Belgian club to reach this stage of the competition, the playoffs. Antwerp will face UCAM Murcia, as they have actually conceded 65 points or less in half of their regular season games.
Tough team that had really good Champions League campaign with 13-1 best record in Champions League.
Kloof goes in for the dunk!
I think there's a lot on the line. I think that Murcia wants to prove them really hard and make it far in the Champions League also, just like us.
If we play very well, we can beat everybody, so I don't think we're afraid of any team.
I think that we can for sure make it to the next round and maybe even to the finals.
It shows that we can be competitive. Belgian basketball is moving up, and I think that's positive.
Good talk.
We start our look at the round of 16 with Antwerp's opponents, UCAM Murcia. The Spaniards had the best record of any team in the regular season, thanks in part to Ovi Soko. He averaged almost 13 points a game.
Soko, 2 seconds, dunks in!
It's an all-round team. I think their biggest strength in Champions League is their defense. Offensively, they also have weapons, but they don't score that many points. But defensively, they're very solid.
Murcia will have fond memories of the round of 16 from last year. They put in some of their best performances to knock out then-defending champions Tenerife.
They progress to the quarter-finals of the Basketball Champions League.
They'd finished the season taking 3rd place at the Final 4. Telenet giants Antwerp advanced to the round of 16 after finishing 4th in Group C.
Kicks out, big 3! Oh, baby! 6 to triple with 22 seconds!
We played with the right mindset. I think those guys never give up. They were competitive against every opponent this year, so big credit to them.
They'll be looking to their American duo of Paris Lee and Jay Sean Tate to try and take them even further.
Lee crosses over, finds Tate, and he gets the nice up and under reverse.
They're the leading scorers on a team that has seen 6 players manage double-doubles this season, more than any other club in the round of 16.
The spin, the pass, Bako the finish, that's superb!
Murcia pride themselves on their defensive ability, and the stats show us why. They conceded just 945 points across their 14 regular season games, a league low. While Antwerp conceded 1,099 points, so they know they have a job on their hands to overcome the Spanish side. Defending champions AEK carried on this season where they left off last campaign.
Sakota for three. Oh my!
They made it through to the round of 16 after winning 12 of their 14 games in Group C to book their place in the playoffs. After topping that group, they will play in the second leg at home at Oaxaca, a place where they have a great playoff record. They've won 5 of their 6 knockout games on home court.
I think it's a really good team. Now they added Jordan Theodore, who we played in the past, also here in the German league. Who's a great player with a great motor, great energy. Yeah, it's a tough team. I mean, they're the defending champions for a reason. It's going to be, again, a tough challenge to knock them off the throne.
PAOK made it into the playoffs after finishing 4th in Group B. After losing their first 3 games of the season, PAOK reversed their fortunes and picked up big wins over Iberostar Tenerife.
Dribbles between his legs, puts it up from deep. Oh my, that was a thing of beauty.
And Humana Rea Venezia.
It opens up for Jones down the middle.
We know the team, we know what they do good, what they do bad. I know how we scout the teams, and I like that is like
a big part of their game is second chance points, and if we can keep them from having too many offensive rebounds, you know, it gives us a chance to control tempo.
PAOK have twice previously made it to round of 16, but have failed to make it to the quarterfinals. If they are to make it through, they'll have to stop AEK's Vince Hunter.
The bounce pass is a good one, thrown down two-handed by Vince Hunter.
He scored 262 points in the regular season, more than any other player. Meanwhile, PAOK's top point scorer, Linos Christopoulos, netted exactly 100 points less than the American. While the clash between AEK and PAOK will be the first all-Greek encounter in the BCL, it's not the first time teams from the same country have gone head-to-head. We've already seen plenty of domestic rivalries on the European stage.
The city where East meets West. An alley-oop pass! Summers! A glorious win here for Pinar Karciaka.
These teams know each other so well. Lays it up for 2. We got a 4-point game. This was a heavyweight fight. That's what would happen. Haynes to the bucket. Oh! Flushes it for 2.
600 kilometers separates these two towns. Back-to-back threes. Cook rejected by Moore. Ludwigsburg will advance. Murcia versus Iberostar Tenerife. Toby finishes it off.
They go inside and Lima flashed it. UCAM Murcia have knocked Tenerife out of the Basketball Champions League.
What a comeback! MHP Ries and Ludwigsburg into the Basketball Champions League Final Four.
Neptunas qualified for the round of 16 on the final day of the regular season with a dramatic win over Medi Bayreuth.
And Neptunas, with all the pressure on them, have done what they needed to do and have got the win.
The Baltic side, however, have never advanced from the round of 16. The Lithuanian club come into the clash having won 3 games in a row and are reaching their peak just at the right time. Another victory for Neptunas would see them equal their best ever winning streak in the BCL. And in veteran guard Thomas Delinikaitis, they possess one of the most lethal shooters in the competition.
Delinikaitis, he's going to put it up, and he's still going to make it! Insane!
The 36-year-old has scored 191 points, more than any other player coming off the bench this season.
Neptunas can show really good basketball, and especially at home with our fans, we can beat this team.
I think we're like that unexpected team, I think. You know, I think a lot of teams can underestimate us, and I think that we can use that to our advantage.
One of the favourites for the competition, Hapoel Jerusalem, will pose a huge test to the Lithuanian side. The Israelis progressed from Group C after winning an impressive 12 of their 14 fixtures.
Stoudemire, he was one of my favorite players growing up, you know, watching him. It would be definitely an experience to play against him. actually. So I'm really looking forward to the game.
The BCL debutants also boast some impressive numbers on the stat sheet, netting the most points by any team with 1,265.
Feldin again. He makes it again. 4 threes in a row for James Feldin.
Most assists by any club with 318.
Butler for 3!
They also grabbed 592 rebounds, more than any other side. In comparison, Neptunas had just 464 boards in the regular season. After losing just 2 of their 14 games, it was no surprise to see Tenerife top Group A.
Iverson, no look, and Size goes up for the dunk. Beautiful play by Virtus Tenerife.
I can see them actually getting to the Final Four. You know, they have a really good team. They play a style that is hard to compete with for 40 minutes. They're relentless. They have a lot of talent also. So, you know, it's going to take a really good team, you know, on a good night to put them out of the Champions League playoffs.
It's Tenerife's 3rd consecutive season in the round of 16, but they were unable to advance from this stage last year, losing to UCAM Murcia. Their opponents, Prometheus Patras, booked their place in the round of 16 after finishing 4th in the ultra-competitive Group D. They come into the playoffs having lost their last 2 regular season games, so they'll be hoping to rediscover some of their strong early season form.
Gikas, finally they get the alley-oop right. And this time, Rion Brown throws it down.
They'll be looking to Rion Brown to help them get past the Spanish side. He's one of only 2 players with multiple 30-point games in the BCL season.
Rion Brown, can he make something happen? And holy cow, can he? What a dunk by Brown.
I think they just click. They have an incredible coach. They have an incredible leader in Gikas. Their chemistry is off the charts. You know, they wouldn't get this far if they didn't have the chemistry that they have. When you look at their roster, they got so much talent, and then you add that the fire that they play with, it's not really a surprise.
They have defensive work to do if they're to progress, however. The 1,150 points they conceded in the regular season was more than any team to make it to the playoffs. Still to come in the show, we preview the enticing last 16 matchup between Nanterre and Besiktas Sompo Japan. We relive some of the most dramatic finishes from the group stages this season. And we see how reigning champions AEK got on in the Intercontinental Cup in Rio. We return to our playoff previews with Nanterre, who confirmed their place in the last 16 with a huge victory over Unet Holon on game day 14.
And Nanterre out of the blocks early.
They'll be hoping for more impressive play from Jeremy Senglin. He's scoring just under 14 points per game this season.
And Senglin gets a shot up at the end of the 3rd quarter. Off the backboard! Whoa, Jeremy Senglin!
Their ability to shoot the three-pointer is off the charts. And whenever you have a team that can do that, it's hard to compete with, you know, trading 2s for 3s because they can shoot the three-point shot so well.
It's Nanterre's 2nd consecutive season in the playoffs, but they'll be hoping for a better outcome than their last round of 16 tie. They were knocked out by another Turkish team last season, Banvit. Their Turkish opponents this time round have failed to make it past the last 16 in their 2 previous BCL seasons. But for Besiktas Sompo Japan, the playoffs couldn't arrive at a better time.
Jason Rich to Jantekin, he goes up for the hammer.
They've won their last 6 BCL games, their joint best run in the competition.
The big-time jam from Bova. The Turks have takeoff.
It's a run that's included a game day 10 MVP performance from Jason Rich. He's averaging over 15 points per game.
Pulls up mid-range, money in the bank. Besiktas getting richer by the moment.
Besiktas is an incredible team with a lot of history and a lot of talent. They got Rich, Buva, Pressy, all these guys. Their locals are incredible, have incredible talent.
It's 2 great teams. I think it'll just be a battle, you know. I think whoever is the best and ready that night will win, for sure.
Besiktas will have to watch the 3-point shooting of their opponents if they want to have any chance to progress. Nanterre have a league-high 159 3-pointers this season, over 50 more than the Turkish side. Banvit qualified for the playoffs after finishing second in Group A with a 9-5 record. They've done it on the back of some stellar performances from power forward Jordan Morgan. He leads the Turkish side in total points scored, rebounds and efficiency, and has been their go-to man for most of the regular season.
We set out a goal to make it to the Final Four. So then when you get a team like Bamberg in the first round, you're excited because you get to play against a very well-respected team, a well-respected club, and you know that it's going to be high-level basketball.
Banvit is a very good team. They have very good American players. They have younger Turkish players that maybe not so well known yet to the European basketball, but they have good players. So we expect a battle.
Banvit reached the quarter-finals last year, only to be eliminated by eventual finalist Monaco, and suffered heartbreak at the Final Four back in 2017, losing to Iberostar Tenerife in the tournament showpiece. The BCL playoffs are a whole new experience for their opponents, Bros Bamberg. They made it through the round of 16 after finishing third in Group C in their debut season. Bamberg are the only German representatives in the playoffs and boast a fearsome roster. And in Tyrese Rice, they have one of the best guards in the BCL.
Rice might have to go for this himself. Going to run out of time. Rice has gone all the way.
His average of over 15 points a game leads the team and was a big reason for their regular season success.
We have great experience, especially with Nikos, with Tyrese, with Ricky. Those are guys who played at a super high level in Europe and they know exactly when it comes to these elimination games what it comes down to.
They have a number of experienced players at every position. So we're going to have to be focused for all 80 minutes against them.
In what is expected to be a tight encounter, it could come down to who makes their foul shots. Bamberg are the best free throw shooters in the competition, making almost 83% of their trips to the line. The Turkish side have made just over 70%. For Banvit, taking on German teams is a familiar experience. They've played 10 times against German clubs, losing just once, and have served up plenty of drama along the way.
That is in your face.
Banvit keep on rolling then. Kachim turns the corner, fires it up and ties the game.
So Banvit have won it.
Bullies his way to the ring for the score plus the foul.
5 seconds to try and win it here. Jordan Theodore puts it in off the glass. Turkish delight in Ludwigsburg.
Banvit 85, Midi Beirut 74.
So, Banvit in control. Oh, and the hammer from Morgan.
The lob. Shelton the throw down. What an alley-oop combination.
Le Mans booked their playoff spot in dramatic fashion.
Get it into Yageti. Hands it off. It's a tough three.
He knocks it down. What a shot to tie up the game. 76-all.
An overtime victory against Anvil in game day 14 guaranteed their place.
Le Mans finally punches their ticket to the playoffs of the Basketball Champions League.
They've come into the knockout stages at the perfect time. They've scored over 80 points in their last 3 games, the first time they've done that in the competition this season.
Le Mans was very different the second time than the first time. I think they found their identity a little bit through the season. The second time, they were very physical. They were very focused, and they played with a lot of energy. And they just outplayed us that game.
They're a scary team because they're peaking at the right time too. You know, they started off slow, then they won, I think, 5 out of their next 6. So I think they're a very scary team.
It's the second year in a row that the French side have come up against an Italian opponent in the last 16. They'll be hoping for a better outcome this time round. They lost both legs to Dynamo Sassari back in the 2016-17 season. They will face a tough challenge against Bologna, who have had an impressive debut season in the league.
Now we got an open runway here elevates, windmill dunk, Kelvin Tyrone Martin.
Bologna lit up Group D, topping the standings with 10 wins. The joint best tally for an Italian team in the BCL regular season.
Punter for three. Oh, goodness me! Mbaye!
And there's been one man who's helped them make it through to the playoffs.
Punter looking for some daylight. He's got it. He hits it. What a finish.
When you're a kid growing up, playing against other competitors, other great players, you know, you want to try to stop them, you want to try to score on them, and you want to beat them, you know, and he's a great player, you know, he's had a great Champions League so far.
Fresh from winning the competition with AEK last season, Kevin Punter is making a real difference to his new Italian team. He's Bologna's top scorer, averaging over 16 points a game. The scoring hopes for the French team will rest on Cameron Clark's shoulders. He leads the team with over 13 points a game. Nizhny Novgorod came through the qualifying rounds to get to the regular season and now find themselves in the playoffs in their BCL debut.
Strebkov's just thrown it up from the half court. Oh, and he's got it! Ivan Strebkov, can you believe it? An outrageous three.
The Russian side sealed their spot after their convincing win over MHP Riesen Ludwigsburg on game day 14.
But Buren somehow gets it to the corner for Komalov.
They're the first Russian club in BCL history to make it to the last 16. And they will continue to look to the impressive play of Kendrick Perry.
Perry again gets into the keyway, far side of the ring for two. Sweet move by Perry.
He's averaging just over 14 points per game this season.
Novgorod plays great team basketball, and it's going to take a team effort to beat them. There's not, you know, any one guy that you can lock in on. They're all, you know, they're all dangerous. They play together. They're unselfish, and that makes them a hard matchup for sure.
Umana Rea Venezia will be after another strong run in Europe, having come fourth in the 2016-17 season.
Washington goes baseline and dunks it. You might as well put that on the highlight reel, folks.
Venezia's impressive run to the playoffs this year was sealed with 10 victories in the group stages.
They don't have a lot of highs and lows. They play at one level, but they're going to play at that consistent level for the whole 40 minutes. You know, they're never out of the game, no matter how much they're down. They've come from behind many times this season, you know, to win games from double-digit deficits.
Venezia veteran Marquez Haynes will be looking to make an impact. He's averaged over 14 points per game this season.
Haynes on the offensive end now. Just looking to shake his way inside. Oh, some ankle breaking. Drains the two.
The Italians will want to continue their strong scoring record when they face Nizhny Novgorod. They have averaged over 83 points per game this season, almost 4 points more a game than their opponents. Both sides competed in overtime an incredible 4 times each this season, more than any other clubs. Here's how they got on in those nail-biting games.
2.4 seconds. They need a 3. Perry turns, fires, makes the 3! Incredible shot to send it to a second overtime.
Day goes down the lane, makes the shot. 2 overtimes in this marathon of a contest.
And it's a steal. The inbounds play goes completely wrong for Venezia, and we're going into overtime.
Perry goes all the way, lays it up to tie the game. 2 overtimes.
3. He's gonna miss it. Oh, can you believe it? Nico Al was there. He got the offensive rebound and put back. We've got overtime.
We finished this show in Rio, where AEK were representing the Basketball Champions League in the FIBA Intercontinental Cup. Coming up against NBA G League's Austin Spurs, Brazil's Flamengo, and Argentina's San Lorenzo.
Sakura, step back, 3! That's what he's known for. Rossetto, hand in the face of Theodore, doesn't matter. Marquinhos has the ball knocked away, and it's gonna be Sam Rose that goes down for the dunk. Quick pass, Hunter for the two-handed jam.
This season's BCL winners have a tough act to follow. That's it for this show, but join us again in March as 16 teams battle it out to progress from the knockout stages in the Basketball Champions League.
And he just puts some pain on that one. Gamble for the two-handed jam.
Defense doesn't want any of this. Oh, what a dunk. That'll bring the crowds alive.
He's loving it. The crowd are loving it. It's Basketball Champions League.